Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. So, we are seeing the dialogue between Karataka and Damanaka. Karataka is the elder brother who is asking Damanaka, who wants to go to the king to talk about things. So, what is your qualification? When he was talking about his qualification, he was explaining, I studied everything from in the lap of our father itself, so I know things. While he was explaining that, he was saying, last day that yesterday we stopped only in that place. He was saying that I know a person should not complain about the king whom he is serving. He should have to complain about himself, because without checking whether the person is right or not, he went to serve him. So that is his problem, not the king's problem. After saying that, he said, okay, the king who does not allow the people to eat or rest should not be served. He should not serve. He should have to give up them, that position and come do some other work. And what is the best method to see now? What are the steps you have to take to be careful? That was said. Now, how to go closer to the king? What are the things which the king will love in you if you want to be close to the king? So he is explaining that up. So you have to be very wary of, keep distance from the king's mother, Rajamata, the king's wife, the Rani, the king's son and daughters, the prince and princess, then the king's chief minister, then his guru, Rajaguru, Rajaprohit, and the doorkeepers. So with these people, the gatekeepers, with these people, you have to be very, very, you should keep distance. And whoever is trusted men of king, if you listen to them without questioning their loyalty to the king, then the king will love you. And if the king is going to give you some gift, you have to extol it. Oh, praise it. Oh, this is very beautiful. I wanted to have this kind of. And if he is going to give you a gift of dress or ornament, then the next day you have to wear it and show it and to the king and say, oh, this is very beautiful. And you should never talk anything in secret manner with the people who work in the bedroom chamber. You have to be very careful about it. And if you see the gambling as a death god, messenger of death god, and if you see the women as not a object of as a sense object, and if you don't objectify the women, and if you are not alcoholic, if you see alcohol as the strongest poison called alhalahala, if you see it like that, then the king will love you. And if during the war, you should have to stand in the front. When the king is moving around in the city, you have to walk behind him. If the king is in the palace, you have to walk with him. The king will love these kind of things. Then if you don't cross the limits, even in a very bad situation, then the king will love you. When you hate people who the king hates, if you love the people whom the king loves, then the king loves you. If you don't never contradict the king or argue with the king, then the king loves you. And we should have to be very careful about, see, if you feel the bad without fear, if you feel the battlefield as your background, and if you see all the parts of countries as your own home, then the king loves you. We should not have any kind of relationship with the king's women, the family women of king. You should not criticize them or comment upon them, then the king loves you. So because if you are going to criticize or comment upon them, then they are going to complain to king and it will be dangerous to you. After listening to all this, whatever Damanaka said, Karataka says, okay, how will you start the discussion? You said you want to go and discuss things with king. How will you begin the discussion? So for that, Damanaka says, oh, that is nothing. Casual talk is good enough. If you start something casually, then it will develop slowly and you will talk about international matters. It's like a seed begetting a seed. So when there is a good rain, you sow a seed, then that seed creates more seeds. So like that, as a topic, whichever topic you choose, it takes you to the next level naturally. And you should be very careful. You should have to use your intellect and be very careful of giving wrong advice, which is dangerous, and thinking of good advice, which is good for you. And um, because see, you have to understand, there are some people who are good inside but they speak very badly outside. Some people who are bad inside but they speak very nice outside. Some people both inside and outside, they are good and bad. Okay, so we should have to be wary of these things. We have to understand these things, sir. And I won't speak anything in wrong situation. I know when to speak and when not to speak. I've learned that in the lap of my father. Like even if Brihaspati speaks at a wrong time in a wrong situation, he is also going to be disrespected and disregarded. So after saying this, Karataka said, okay, but you have to remember, it is not easy to serve a king. It's very difficult to grow in the stature in the king's service. And because there are highs and lows, it's like a snake chamber. So there are highs and lows and all that. You have to be very careful, because king is like a snake. Like the snake wears skin, separate skin. King puts on a shield. And like this snake is interested in sensual pleasures, king is also interested in sensual pleasures. And like the snake moves crookedly, king also moves crookedly. They are both cunning and dangerous. So we should be very wary of it. Not just that, the king and snake are, see, these are all bad qualities which are similar in king and snake. There are good qualities also. The king and snake can find people who can find the qualities of people from far away. Like if that person is two-tongued, meaning he'll speak good and bad about things, then he'll understand it from far. If he's cruel, or if he is a betrayer, or if he is going to talk bad about others, king will find it from far away. He does not even let them close to him. And you have to understand, even a small mistake, you have to pay a very heavy price. Like the fly going closer to the fire will get destroyed. Similarly, if we make a small mistake when we are close to the king, will completely get destroyed. So we have to be very careful about all this. When he says this, because the king and water are similar, it is very difficult to gather them or gain it, and it is to be protected for having them for a long time. So after saying all this, Karataka, when he says all this, Damanaka says true. What he says is true. But there is a difference. What is that? See, when you serve him, you have to, you said you have to be very careful and all. That's not a very difficult thing actually. You can bring the king under your spell by pleasing him and serving him, and serving him the way he prefers. Like, let me give an example. A wife, if she does things as the husband prefers, then even if the husband is a demon, she can bring him under her spell. I'll give you, I'll explain this. See, it is easy to cast spell on a king. This is the secret. If he is angry, praise him. If whomever he loves, you love too. Whomever he hates, you hate too. And if he gives you, glorify his gift. When you do all this, then you can bring him under your control without even any mantra or tantra. So when Damanaka says all this, Karataka understands, okay, this fellow has studied properly. Okay, if you think so, fine. My blessings. Go and do whatever you need to. And after receiving the blessings, because you have to salute your elders, So after saluting his brother, elder brother, the this Damanaka moves towards the king, and king is sitting in this mandala, right? Four layers. So the first layer, I said explained about this already. The first layer is king and his family. Second layer is the minister and their family. The third layer is who are directly connected to the prosperity of the kingdom, the businessmen and their family. And fourth is who are not directly to the king, not directly related to the king. They are workers working for the businessmen, etc., their family. So that is how he is sitting. Now when Damanaka is approaching the king, the gatekeepers stop him. So Pingalaka, the king, sees them, and he says, "Oh, gatekeepers, leave him. He is our person. He is this minister's son, and he is eligible for the second rung of the layer. So don't worry. Let him inside any point of time. You need not stop him." So the gatekeepers also said, "As you say, king, don't worry. We are letting him in." So Damanaka enters the court, and there are stipulated place for each one of them. So you cannot sit anywhere. So he goes to that proper place, and before sitting he salutes the king and takes his permission to sit. After that he sits. Then the Pingalaka, the king, also raises his left hand, which has this nails which are so powerful and so bright, like diamonds. They are shining. Okay, that left hand he lifts and says, "How are you? Long time no see." Then Damanaka says, "Oh, that is nothing, king. See, you are a busy person. There are so many people serving you. We are not so important, and we don't want to disturb you. And though it is so, but if we need something, if you want something, then you are the only person whom we can approach, whether we are high or medium or low in the status. You are the only person we approach. Even a leaf is useful in cleaning the teeth or picking up your ear, etc. So if even a leaf is useful, then what about us? Do you even have to say, we with hands and legs and the ability to speak, etc., with intelligence and all that, will be useful also, right? So think is, though we don't get the rightful place. See, we are serving you traditionally. Though we don't get the rightful place, we should serve the king actually. And see, we didn't get the rightful place. That is not your defect. That's not your fault. But still, I have to say something, right? So think is, we have to understand. One should have to understand. The king should have to understand where to place a servant and an ornament. They should be placed in a perfect position, proper position. You cannot wear chudamani, which is to be worn on your forehead, on your leg. That's not right, sir. And chappal or shoe on your head, that is also not right. And king who does not understand the good and bad qualities and all that, he should not be served, because there's no point in even if he is a rich person, even if he is from a great lineage, even if you are serving him traditionally, that person is not qualified to be served. And the if the king treats all the grades equal, the higher grades with lower grades, or in the same grade, if he sees some inequality, if he shows some inequality, or even after employing you, he is not going to provide you with any job, then that king is not worth serving. So the servants also give up, stay away from this king who is ignorant about the about placing people. Like if he puts a illiterate on high position, and if he puts a literate in a lower position, then that is not how you serve the king. That is not the person who you have to serve. Because a diamond is worth to be placed on a gold, should not be placed on a iron or another, any other metal, cheap metal. But the thing is, Just because it is placed even in a lower cheap metal, the diamond is not going to either cry or going to say, no, I'm going to shine even more. It's not going to be worried or be happy about it. And yeah, you asked me long time no see. Yeah, I'll answer that also. See, uh, one does not stay in a place where they don't know the difference between, where they don't know the difference between the right and left hand, and right and wrong. And if a person does not know the difference between the uh, um, precious stone and glass piece, and has a choice of placing things or misplacing things, where you have to use glass piece, he uses a precious stone, or where you have to use a precious stone, if a person uses a glass piece, then that person is not worth serving. And um, if there is no examiner in a place, then even the precious stones which are gained from under the ocean, like the coral, or like the uh, pearl, etc., if there are no examiners, how will people know the value of those stones, those things? So even Chandrakanta which is moonstone, which is a very, very costly thing, that will be that can be bought there for 3 rupees, a cheap money. But if it is bought cheap, it is better, isn't it? See, you don't understand the point. See, if a person sells without understanding the value, if he sells something very cheap, that is not the only problem. If he is going to buy, he'll see a red plastic bead and coral stone. He'll equate both, because that is red and this is red. He'll equate both as a same. He'll say, why are you selling this for 3 rupees and that for 3 million? Why should I pay so much? Both are red, so you cannot sell anything there also. So that's very difficult. So uh, if the king mixes along with all the people, then the people who serve him, they lose encouragement, because this fellow does not understand the limit where he should have to keep the distance. So they lose encouragement, and they will not be interested in working with him. So like that, he is talking about the Damanaka is talking to the king about his knowledge. He is displaying his knowledge. We'll see. Hari Om.